If you applied for the disability tax credit in Canada and CRA denied you, the denial letter probably never mentioned the rule that could approve you on a second application. That rule has unlocked $7,872 in retroactive tax savings for Canadians who were told they did not qualify, and another $1,968 every year for life. The credit does not require a more severe condition. It requires a better understanding of how CRA evaluates two conditions at once. One Hamilton schoolteacher found out 2 years after his denial. Connor is a 41-year-old elementary school teacher in Hamilton who has lived with Crohn's disease since he was 29. 2 years ago, he was also diagnosed with ADHD. His doctor filled out the T2201 form. 6 weeks later, CRA sent a letter saying he did not qualify. Connor put the letter in a drawer. What he did not know was that the denial letter never mentioned the rule that would have approved him. Here is what most Canadians do not know about a DTC denial, and that is the part most people focus on. The standard advice is to get a more severe diagnosis or have your doctor refill the form. That is part of it, but the deeper trap is the cumulative effect rule. It's a provision in the Income Tax Act that says if you have 2 or more conditions, each one falling just short of the eligibility threshold on its own, CRA is required to evaluate them together. The combined picture is what qualifies. The denial letter does not explain this. Most people would assume CRA looks at each condition separately and picks the most severe. That is part of it, but the deeper trap is the 90% rule. CRA requires that your condition restrict a basic activity of daily living all or substantially all of the time, which it interprets as roughly 90%. Conditions that flare and recede, Crohn's, ADHD, anxiety, autoimmune disease, rarely meet 90% on their own. The cumulative effect rule exists precisely because of this gap. Here is what surprises most people, and the clue was already there. Connor had 2 conditions from the day he applied. His ADHD restricted his mental functions perhaps 60% of the time. His Crohn's restricted him perhaps 70%. Neither cleared 90% individually. Together, the combined daily restriction clears the bar easily. The math was there. The rule was there. The denial letter just never said the words. The federal DTC for 2024 is worth roughly $1,481 in federal tax savings, plus approximately $487 in Ontario, $1,968 per year combined. Because Connor's conditions clearly existed in prior years, he can request retroactive adjustments going back up to 10 years. A conservative 4-year claim puts $7,872 back in his pocket. If he does not owe enough CACs to use the full credit, he can transfer it to a supporting family member. Here is what to do. Step 1, if your DTC was denied within the past 90 days, request a reconsideration. Write to the CRA office that issued the denial and include new supporting material. Step 2, if more than 90 days have passed, file a formal Notice of Objection. The deadline is 90 days from your Notice of Assessment or 1 year from your filing deadline, whichever is later. Step 3, use a specialist on the new T2201. For mental functions, a psychologist or psychiatrist. For Crohn's, a gastroenterologist. Step 4, ensure the cumulative effect box is checked and both conditions are described together. The DTC denial is not the end of the road. Connor did not get approved on the second try because his condition got worse. He got approved because the rule was always there, sitting in the Income Tax Act, waiting for someone to ask about it. Nobody told him. Now you know.